Hey everybody. Thought while I had the chance before everything changes color due to dirt and dirt related products, I would show you the clothing system, and here and there as I can I'll kind of go over what I haven't had the chance to do before trail, or at least more before trail than now. So start with, I just grabbed the softest cotton shirt I could to sleep in a cotton pair of boxers, just all for sleep, just to be as comfy as possible and not to wear while hiking, but also give me something to just wear out and about in town because it is quite comfy. But as far as day-to-day wear goes, these should look pretty familiar to most people looking at through hikers. Just a Columbia shirt, which honestly I always forget the name of this one, but it's just very, very breathable, very convenient, very comfy, light, sun protective, etc. So it's just kind of a all-purposes shirt that works pretty well across the whole PCT. For other day stuff, once we get hot enough, the Thru Hiker Booty Short Special with our galaxy pattern to match. My wife likes my commentary. To match my galaxy pattern gaiters. So style. Looking forward to those. But before it gets too hot, because we are starting in mid-March, pants, which were just REI garage sale. Yeah, Prana Pants. And so Prana, they're so comfy. Like, just massively stretchable. You could kick a person in the face standing directly in front of them. Were you able to do that in the first place? Which I used to be able to, probably not anymore though. But just, they're really breathable and really comfy, and so while it's still cool, I already owned them, so it works. So as far as kind of day-to-day main items, that's the main pieces of clothing. But talking sock system, I have 2 pair of darn tough socks. They're a bit tall for me, but I'm going to switch those out before too long. So I have 1 pair that's just during the day, one either for at night or for this one to dry out and cycle through the 2. I was kind of thinking of having 1 heavy and then a couple other more lower height, lower weight socks so that I could rotate some during the day but always have some clean ones at night for at least once it gets cold, which given where we are, that might be now. Mixed with those orange gingy toe socks, which I'm a big fan of for no other reason than blister prevention, which I have never really had a problem with blisters, but I also haven't thru hiked before. So really starting with a few pair of those, and we'll see where it goes, but I do have 2 pair as well on me, which it's not horribly necessary right now. It will be later with water crossings, so I may stick to 1 of these until I find it particularly relevant to have more than one at a time, but for now, overkill. Why not? So, other kinda day-to-day stuff, but getting into the warm layers and alternative stuff. So I do have 2 buffs. This one is wool, so it is really soft and does have some sun protective value. So it's just been a favorite garment for a little while. And I do have one that's not wool, but just for extra use. They're such versatile items that I can't imagine not having 2 between dust, smoke whenever it inevitably likely happens, heat, etc., or a pot holder. And on that sun layer, sexy, but they are really, really functional. I'm not really a hat person, but it's outdoor research, also a REI garage sale find for like $15 or something like that. These snap off, so it's worth it to get some good airflow without all of this alleged desert sun. So as far as warm layer goes, just REI pair of wool leggings or tights or whatever you might want to call them. But I went for a medium weight for those dying to know, and then a full heavyweight Mont Bell wool top. We caught their Portland store during their closing sale, and so got a really good, decent deal on those. Actually, I think the REI Co-op wool as well was REI garage sale. You can't get everything REI garage sale that you'd kind of find through Hiker Specialized, but honestly, I've gotten a decent few items there. So, with that warm layer, I've never heard a bad thing about the Patagonia Microbe Puff jacket. It's because it can actually get moist and still do something. It seems a lot more resilient than the Ghost Whisperer from Mountain Hardware. And I waited for a sale, and actually no, we got my wife's on sale through REI, but got this one for like $170 instead of $300. And I got that from eBay with the tag still attached, new, so it was quite the deal, and it is comfy. It feels much easier to move around in this than the Ghost Whisperer as well, so I'm glad we didn't go that direction. Moving more into warm layers. So this is a 2-glove system, and they're both super light, and I already had one of them anyway. The one on the outside, I frankly can't remember the name of it without looking it up, but it's a Gore-Tex product that's wind stopper, and so they're not waterproof. They don't really insulate much, but they do completely block wind like it wasn't there. And so we matched that with our Z-Packs Possum Down gloves, which were $20, really do shed water pretty well and are really warm. So I just slip one inside the other. They're still really light. And since I own the other ones already, I don't do well with my hands being cold. The rest of me, no problem. Love the cold. If it's 40 degrees outside, I'm in a t-shirt. I'm comfy as long as I'm very slowly walking on concrete. That's fine. But my hands don't do well with it, so it's just a worthwhile investment. I can't imagine holding onto some poles and trying to do that, so it is what it is. And so, last warm item is just a Z-Packs fleece beanie. It weighs about as much as air and is super comfy, and my skull is weirdly large and hard to get a good beanie for, or hats of any kind. This is snug, but fits really comfortably, and actually, same for the Outdoor Research hat. It is adjustable with Velcro, so you don't have to worry about like snaps that may kind of leave you in between. So, just for my particular skull, that has been nice. So, I went for bright blue Under Armour on my, say, day-to-day underclothing to avoid chafing, and it seems kind of difficult finding some of the skin-tight layers because a lot of them seem to be being made with lower quality these days, so they'll just fall apart and or not be comfortable. And these have been pretty comfy so far, and I've worn them for quite a few hikes. Whereas most of this, admittedly, about half of it I've worn quite a bit, half I've just kind of checked out a bit briefly just to keep it in good repair for this hike. But either way, moving on. Another cheap item, but I've never heard anything bad about, is Outdoor Research's sun gloves, which have like a cooling crystal thing that just basically, as it collects sweat from your hands and as it evaporates, it cools more noticeably, and just kind of feels like a mini cooling ice pack thing on your hands, or some other way of putting it that makes sense. They're super light, sun protective, and they were like $20 or something, so when it comes to just the ongoing heat, not being able to protect your hands, it's worth it. So I have 3 pairs of gloves, don't judge me. So last layer is hopefully will not be heavily needed for the main purpose, but is our rain layer. And so, what do you know, an REI garage sale find. This was just a cooler, Kohler, however you want to say it, raincoat that I got for a really low price that just happened to fit me well, be comfortable, easy to move around with. And so generally it's just going to be used as a windbreaker when I don't want a heavier insulation of the puffy. And it weighs about the same as a Frog Tog top for about the same-ish price for what I got it for at the REI garage sale, so win. Not much else to say really, except that it works well. No idea what model it is. And then If I keep them, it is just actually frog tog bottoms. It's as much as a wind protectant as anything else, and they are so light, and I did already have them, but I will probably give up and send them home just in time to actually need them. So that's the real quick rundown on the clothing system. Like I said, I've tried out probably about half of it pretty extensively, whereas the other half has just been tried out briefly. But it's, the things I haven't tried is like extensively is like the wool layers. Well, they're warm. I tried them on. They're warm. As long as they don't fall apart, they'll be good. And these companies have lifetime guarantees on all of it, where they'll, if it's actually bad, it'll be taken care of. And other things have just been really well reviewed, like the sun gloves. So overall, probably a couple extras that might get sent home at a certain point, but I've just been really happy with my particular choices in, say, pre-trail time, and got really good deals on everything. I paid very little for most of it. So without further ado, that's the clothing system, and so check back in later to see what color they are at the end of the hike.